In this example, we have a class string use. When we execute it, the main function is called. So line 25 is executed first. String a string equals to David. So during compile time, this will be stored in memory, let's say at address 100, David. And this is referenced by variable a string. Line 26, b string David. Again, since the string literal is the same, string literal is the same, so this will also be pointing to the same address, that is 100 for the string literal David. B string will point to the same part. Now line 27, compare a string and b string. So compare function is called a string and b string. Both are string literals right now with the content David pointing to the same address. So line 14, if a string equals b string, yes, they equal, right? So both contents are David. So this line executes true and line 15 is printed. So for this, it prints, I would write it here, this would print equal, this will print equal, and then this else condition is not executed. Then if condition is checked, if a string equals to b string, yes, both strings, a string and b string, point to the same address, so therefore this is also evaluates to true, and then equal to is printed after a gap of 4/t. This is a regex character for giving 4 spaces, and then equal to is printed. So essentially the output for this line is equal, and then in the next line there's some spacing, and then equal to. Then line 29 is executed, system out print line using new. So using new is printed. Line 30, a string equals to new string David. So now a string points instead of, so let's say this is where it's created. This is the new string that's created David for line 30, and now a string points here. Since a string points here, we lose the reference for the previous string variable. So a string is removed from here, and this is where a string points now. In line 31, b string equals to new David. So another new string is created during runtime. This will be stored at a new address, and b string will point to this address 201 for the new string. Again, this reference will be lost. So now we're comparing these two strings at the same at the address 200 and 201. So this part compares whether content equal or not, and this part compares whether address equal or not. So is the content of these two strings same? Yes, the content is the same, so it prints equal. So line 15 is executed, and for these two strings, a string and b string, now is the address same? No, address is not same. So in the next line, after giving some space, not equal to is printed. That is, this condition is executed. Line 21. So now that we have done this, let me just clear this. Now we move to line 34, where concat, I'm just writing concat 1. So this is printed, and then a string is equals to da plus bit. So another new string is created. This is a string literal, right? So during compile time, this will evaluate to string David, and then this will be stored in memory. Let's say we store it here. Sorry, my bad. We store it here at address 102 David, right? Now a string is pointing here. So this is for line 35. So line 36, b string, again this is done at compile time, and this also evaluates to David, right? So this also evaluates to David, and this will also then point to the same place. So address 102 is pointed by b string as well. And then line 37 is executed, compare function a string b string. So right now a string is pointing to the string literal stored at address 102, and b string is also pointing to the address 102 where David is stored. So these two strings are being compared. So is their content same? Yes, the content is same. Both are David, right? So this then equals then this outputs equal, so this part outputs equal, line 15 is printed, and then we check whether the address is same or not. Yes, both are string literal, so their address is also the same. So again, for this case, line 19 is executed and equal to is printed after some spaces. In the next case, line 39 is executed, so concat 2, so concat 2 is printed as it is, and line 40, DA plus with. This evaluates to David at compile time, right? So we already have a David and A string is already pointing towards that. So A string keeps pointing here, and B string is again a compile time. During compile time it evaluates to David. So this is again still pointing here. It does, no difference is made. Again, when we compare them, the same output will be printed. So since their address is the same, equal is printed, and since the content is the same, so equal is printed, and since their address is also the same, then double equal to is printed. So this is essentially the output of this program. Notice that these first two lines were comparing the contents, and these two lines were comparing the addresses of the strings that were being compared. So this is the final execution and this is the final output.